All right. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's great to be here this morning with Jill Hewlett, my special guest. Jill Hewlett is a renowned speaker, an expert in wellness, and of course, brain fitness, which is a very interesting topic. And I'm so thrilled. I don't want to stay on this page. I want to introduce Jill the way she's best to be introduced. And that is by bringing her on to camera so that we can get into this conversation right away. So, good morning, Jill.
Hey, good morning, Libby. Great to spend this time with you.
Yeah, wonderful to be here with you.
Amazing.
I'm excited. So, Jill, you are a brain fitness expert. What on earth does that mean?
Such a great question. Such a great question. Well, I go into organizations and I work with various groups on developing their fit brain. And when you work on developing your fit brain, you inevitably improve all areas of life. So that's the essence of brain fitness. We move from using a smaller portion of our cognitive resources and potential to our whole brain potential. And that makes an amazing difference in the workplace, in learning settings, and just in daily life as well. So yeah, I'm very passionate about it, and anyone with a brain and a body can benefit.
Awesome. So I love, this is a Hoberman ball. Mine happens to be a glow in the dark one. I've used
Cool.
this for so many different metaphors. And I love how you just used it, that we're not using our full capacity. And so how do we expand that?
That's good. You have one of those as well. These are fun.
Yeah.
Whenever I take them to events, people want to touch them.
Yes, I had this in my office and everybody played with it. So I'd always be giving some sort of metaphor that when they'd finally say, what is this thing?
Yes, exactly.
So for those who are watching, feel free to say hello in the comments. I'll be monitoring that. So if I'm looking off to the side, Curry, great to see you here this morning. So Jill, let's first of all have a sip of our drinks, our coffee.
Cheers. I have to admit to the group here, I'm drinking water. You got to hydrate your brain first. At least that's my strategy first. So I'm going to, but for those of you out there enjoying your coffee, cheers. And just a reminder to keep drinking water throughout the course of your day too, because your brain is an electrical unit and it needs to be hydropowered.
Yeah, so I've heard the brain talked about in the context of it's your most valuable tool. It's your 3-pound tool. That's how much the brain weighs. We get hardwired. I was talking about this the other day. We live in a house that's 121 years old. Now, I don't even know if it had electricity when it was first built, but at some point it would have had electricity and probably would have been wired with old knob and tube. So it was hardwired. And there came a point when that just didn't serve anymore. And so the wiring had to be redone. And so now it's modernized. And when we moved, I think we had like a 60 amp panel and now we have a 200 amp panel. So, we can plug the toaster and the coffee maker in at the same time and all is good. But I feel like that's kind of the same thing with the brain. We get hardwired. Our thinking gets hardwired. And it becomes kind of difficult. And maybe is it impossible to break that wiring, to change that hard wiring for something else to be possible?
Well,
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, what a great example and such an important question. So first of all, for up until just a few decades ago, scientists believed that our brain was hardwired, like it was set in stone. So if you had an injury, it would be hard to rehabilitate. You had a certain IQ, you couldn't necessarily get smarter. If you had a certain behavior or personality pattern or type, that you were just kind of stuck there. But over the past few decades now, it's becoming more and more common knowledge that we have access to something called neuroplasticity, which is a whole new field of science, and it's groundbreaking, and it changes our thinking 180 degrees, because we realize that no, we're not set in stone. Our brain is actually a sponge, jelly-like substance that is constantly being influenced by every thought, word, action, interaction that we have at every moment of every day, and is constantly being sculpted by our consistent lifestyle choices and habits. And so we actually are literally the sculptors of our brain. We can rewire our brain. And just like an electrician would direct the energy and information flow in a building, it's really our responsibility and opportunity to direct that energy and information flow in our system. And in the process of it, activate this amazing word, neuroplasticity, which means that, our brain is like plasticine. It's not plastic, but it's plasticine like. It's malleable, changeable, modifiable, and really no one else can do it for you. That role is yours, and you have the opportunity to tap into it.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny, in my world, in learning and development, sales training, there's a lot of baggage of ineffective programs, too scripted, too whatever, or this is fluffy stuff, right? Where are you coming from with this fluffy stuff? There is absolutely no question in my mind that when you speak brain to brain, you can get great things accomplished. You can sell more, you can accomplish more, you can dream more, you can do more, really anything at all. And the only difference between someone who has and something that you think you'd like and you who doesn't have what you'd like is that you haven't wired up yet. And so the opportunity is there for you to wire up differently.
Yes, absolutely.
What you want.
Oh, you can change your inner brain map. I mean, in order to accomplish certain things in our outer world, we need to establish it in our inner world. Mm-hmm. And from a brain context, we need to develop and lay down those neural pathways, literally. And we can do that. And there's so many ways to do it. I mean, practice is one way, receiving coaching and changing our perspective, questioning our mindset and our thoughts, mirror neurons kick in when we actually have mentors and we see others performing the very thing that we want to learn how to do. That activates those neurological responses inside of us. So there's a multitude of ways to tap into this neuroplasticity and rewire our brain so that we can be more calm on demand, be more focused, be more productive, learn more easily, improve our memory, and just also tap into a better performance. Like all these things are available to us with the right strategies and tools. And I think that's really where the brain fitness programs come in, because that's what I do with individuals and organizations, is show them how to tap into that.
Mm-hmm. So, I know what it means when somebody says, Libby, you should really, get more physically fit. You go out walking or running, or you lift weights, or, hop on a treadmill or a Peloton or whatever those things are. I get that. I can visualize that. I see what that is. And I can take lessons or, put one foot in front of the other and get outside. I know what physical fitness is, but how do you do brain fitness?
Right. Right. How do you train your brain? Well, that's a great question. And when you bring up those physical activities, that actually, there's a direct correlation there, because it is now proven that physical fitness will in fact improve our brain functioning, grow new neurons, and improve and strengthen our neural networks. In fact, something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, is it's a protein, it's a growth hormone for the brain, and it gets elicited when we do physical activity. So right there, going to the gym, going for those walks, all those things will help your brain. In fact, Stanford University did a research study, and they showed that something called microbursts, which are 5-minute walking breaks every hour. So on the hour, you take a 5-minute walking break, will improve your creativity, your focus, your concentration, your mood, and your attitude, like all these things. So it's proven, once again, that physical activity isn't just for our body, it's for our brain as well. Because really, Libby, our brain is neurologically wired through our entire body. You move your body, you're moving and activating your brain. So
Right.
that is definitely one aspect. It's not the entire brain fitness program menu, but it is definitely a key part of it.
So when my Apple Watch says time to stand, what it should really be saying is it's time to go for a 5-minute walk.
Yes. And what is so exciting, I think in our conversation today, I was looking forward to perhaps sharing a few brain activation strategies that can be done right at the desk. So if a person doesn't have a time to go out for a walk, or say the weather isn't conducive, or they're just about to give a presentation, or they're trying to achieve a deadline, that there are some activities that they can do instead of that actual walking break, and get equally, if not better, value and benefits.
Oh, good. So we're going to do some of that. So, I've worked with you over the years, Jill, when I have been feeling stuck. Maybe it's been in my personal life or my business or career or whatever those things are. And it's amazing to me the impact that some of these very, very simple activities can have. And, we met, 3 weeks ago? You gave me an assignment to do my pace every morning. And so my husband and I have been doing that religiously for the last 2 weeks, every morning. And I talked a lot in the lead up to this about brain fog, and just that, like, when is everything going to be over? And we got a bunch of stuff, additions and pools and things that were pools. Pool that we're living through, and it's just like energy draining. And then the heat and the humidity here in Ontario, it's like energy draining, and I'm in a fog, but I need to be productive. I'm growing my business, and it's 4 things that you gave me to do that have had a remarkable impact. So do you want to start there, or is there another thing that you want to do? I mean, we're not gonna start exercising and get on the floor.
No worries, folks. You don't need to change your clothes. We can do this right here at our desk, and I'd be happy to go into a kind of a mini desk reset for everyone. And just before we do that, I thought I would just touch in to say that, you're so keen. You embrace growth. You're a genuine leader that way. You're role modeling that for others because you're walking the talk. And I admire that about you, Libby. And so, when I share these tools with you, you don't hesitate to put them to use. And that's the point with this, is that if you don't use it, you lose it. And so, and if you don't move it, you actually lose it too. So these strategies that I share are meant to be so quick and easy and accessible that a person doesn't have time not to do them. Right. And then when they make the commitment, like you just said for yourself and your husband, when you do that on a regular, consistent basis, that's how you see the change, because repetition is key. That's how we build those neural pathways. That's how what's called myelination, where we lay down this protein lubricant on the axon, where it's the communication line between the cells, between these neurons. And in order for those pathways to get stronger and faster and become your new norm or your new habit, you need to practice it. And it gets to the point where you reach that tipping point where it just is. That is comfortable now. You don't have that second thought. But at the beginning, when we're learning something new, especially as adults, we can be awkward. We can be clunky. We have to kind of stop and think, or we hold our breath because we can't breathe and move and think at the same time. All these kind of natural things. And that's in just any daily life activity, or maybe a skill we want to improve, say an athletic skill, but that also relates to learning a new software, or this whole adjusting to working from home, or being the person who manages their technology now because they used to have direct access to the IT department, or even just to understand and navigate this unprecedented time. It can be awkward and uncomfortable because it's so new and we haven't developed these new habits yet. So I just thought that might be useful for folks to see how it really relates to them in the real world.
Yeah. And anybody who is a client of mine understands the idea of repetition. We read a book, we put it down, we say we've read the book, we got what we got from it. Read it again, read it again, read it again, read it again. And write your goal. It is the doing over. I mean, I'm 61 almost, and so I have a lot of patterns that I grew up with that I had to start to break to get to my next level of growth. And here I am, just started a new business in February. I've got a whole bunch of habits from the last decade, let's say, that I'm needing to replace. And the only way to replace, there's only two ways to get into a new habit. One is through a traumatic change. So the pandemic caused all of us to put on our masks. It's weird to go somewhere and not have a mask on now, right? We were forced into it, and we just did it. But all the other things that we are used to, it is through repetition that we change our patterns. Yes. And I call it thinking and attitude and mindset. But it's all related right back to the brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We are in an unprecedented time. We've had to make adjustments, but the very fact that people need to give themselves a pat on the back, the fact that they are adjusting, it's being kind of imposed upon us or forced upon us, but nonetheless, people are rising to the occasion, speaks volumes to your capacity to be resilient and your ability to rewire your brain. I mean, it's there, it's possible. And I think another point you made here is everything's being disrupted. So this is a good time to start new habits. If not now, when? I mean, you talked about starting a new business, and now into your 60s, you're learning these new habits. I mean, how exciting, because that's possible. Because as long as a person is here on the planet, they can sculpt and rewire their brain. In fact, as long as you're alive, you can grow new neurons. And that is something that is a scientific breakthrough, because for a long time, it's only been a few decades now that we understand that this is possible. Prior to that, they thought you have a set number of neurons and that's it. That's all you get for life. And the rest of it is downhill. Now we realize that that's not the case, but we need, in fact, the strategies that will allow us to do it, because it's not going to just happen. Likely, it's not going to just happen on its own. We need to be intentional and purposeful about it.
Yeah, I used to buy into the philosophy that I had killed a lot of my brain cells. So I'm very happy that I can grow them back and I can recover from some of that youthful damage I may have done. All right, let's we've got 10 minutes. Let's do a little brain gym, and then I want to talk about these wonderful cards that you've created to help people.
Oh, fantastic.
So, what are we going to do, Jill?
Well, that's amazing. I'd like to start with having a toast with everyone, and whether you have your coffee or water, let's just have a toast. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
So I
know that's really about hydration, right? Before you get into your brain gym, don't be toasting with wine, even if you're over in Europe and it's wine time. Water.
Yeah, and I will just drive that home again. Water is so key. We need to occur in a milieu of proper hydration, so these electrical communications can happen in our system, and especially in our brain. So stay well hydrated, everyone. And then what we can do, instead of going for a walk outside, let's go for a walk right here at our desk, even sitting in your chair. This is called a cross crawl. It's a cross lateral activity that activates the left and right brain hemisphere, which is so key, because when we're in stress, Libby, we go into something called sidedness, and our non-dominant side shuts down and our dominant side takes over. It's like, to the rescue, I'll take care of everything, I'll keep you safe, I'll get the job done. But we're working at a minimal capacity. In a short, brief instance, that's fine, if it's a life-saving situation. But as a general way of being, we want that whole brain state. We want to be in a whole balanced, connected state. Walking's an amazing way to elicit that. So let's do a variation right here at our desk by taking whatever hand you choose, up and over to your opposite leg, and then switch over and go side to side. And when you're doing this, make sure you breathe, take nice deep breaths, and the nice turn of the upper body is also giving you another benefit. Because a lot of people are too sedentary right now. They're sitting and looking in front at their screens and not getting enough movement to really activate their brain so they can be productive and think clearly. So what happens is when we do that, we also, our spine starts to lose its proper posture. And the communication that's supposed to move through the spine, the cerebral spinal fluid, it gets sluggish. It stops moving freely. And then what happens is our whole system starts to tighten and shrink, and our posture becomes compromised. And that all affects the communication pathways to our brain. So as you can see, just doing that movement, you reactivate that fluid, you get the left and right brain hemispheres moving together, and you're probably more upright and feel a little more energized too.
Yeah. And that when we did this a couple of weeks ago, it was amazing how much I realized how straight I was being all the time. I go for my long walks, but I wasn't moving my spine, and it feels so good to just do that quick exercise.
I'm so happy you said that, because that is it. We're becoming very narrow vision human beings. We're moving into what's called an ocular lock. It's affecting our eyes. It's affecting our thinking, our mindset. And by doing a simple movement like this, where you're looking in different directions and you are, getting that mobility back in your body, you're actually activating different parts of the brain that will be so useful for you when you are problem solving, when you're communicating, when you are brainstorming, all these things, being creative, whatever the requirement is, more of your brain will be online for you.
Yeah. Great. What's another?
Okay, another one. I love this. This is an all-over body massage done in a small area. You get to activate 400 acupressure points by rubbing around your earlobe. And there's multiple benefits. The first and foremost, it will help you to be more focused. Yeah, so you can go around the earrings or take them off, whatever's comfortable. Bring the thumbs to the front of the ear and then the other fingers to the back of the ear. And you just roll out, starting at the top, bit by bit, roll around your entire earlobe. And this, it may feel different. It may feel funny. Most people say, hey, this is enjoyable. I didn't realize something like this could feel so good.
My ears. I was told by somebody once that I had a huge crush on when I got my hair cut. I didn't wear my hair short for years because he said, I never realized how big your ears were.
Oh, well, you just say,
no, I'm not giving my ears love.
Good for awesome. You. Yeah. You say better to hear you with, buddy. But, and actually this does, interesting we bring this up, because this actually does turn on listening. It actually tunes you into your listening, better listening, which also better focus. And these pressure points, you might even feel your ears getting warmer and red, and kind of circulation activations happening. These are connected to pathways and organs and systems through your whole body. So you're getting this whole overall system activation. And last but not least, when we're in stress, focus is one of the first things to go, because all of a sudden, or when we're stressed, or because we're going through change and uncertainty, especially, we don't have that context of how we would normally function and operate. We don't have that typical template. So what we need are tools that can get us back into a refocused mode, even if we don't have all the answers. And so doing this activates your parasympathetic response, your rest and digest response. So at the same time, while it's energizing and focusing, Libby, it's also calming and soothing. And we need both, right? We need to feel calm and centered and able to take this, inspired action.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know what? We've got 3 minutes left. So a couple of things. If you message me, this is the set of cards that Jill has. And so if you want to be energized, if you want to do some teamwork, if you want more agility, if you're focused on the details, or you want to be relaxed, or you want to straighten your posture, I mean, whatever it is, this is a fantastic set of cards with all types of exercises, very similar to what we've been doing. Some of them you might, have to get on the floor, but most of them you can do right at your desk. So if you message me in the next, let's say 15 minutes, so by 10:15, if you message me and say, I want one, then I will put your name in a hat of sorts, and I will draw a person, and I'll connect with that lucky winner and send you this set of cards. So I ordered one for myself, and I ordered an extra one to give away this morning. So that's the cards. So that's fantastic. So Jill, sessions with you are rejuvenating, energizing, focus creating. It's absolutely fantastic, especially when you're feeling really stuck on something. So I want to let people know how to get connected with you. And sorry, I forgot to share. This is the cards up close.
Yeah, and I have my set right here too. I use these all the time, and whether I'm doing a group presentation or working, like you're saying, individually, we use these brain activation strategies, because we can't just talk about what it is we want to create. We need to establish those neurological pathways, and literally, like we've been talking about this whole session, rewire our brain in the direction of our health, well-being, and success. Yes,
that's awesome. Okay, so how do people get in touch with you? This I'm going to pop it back here for a moment. Jill, it has been so much fun spending some time with you this morning. I hope everyone who has been here have seen some likes and loves and, interesting comments coming up. So this has been fantastic, Jill. Thank you so much. This for the audience, this sort of wraps up a 3-part series on the brain-body connection, the brain-focus connection, and the brain moving you toward your goal connection. So reach out to Jill, reach out to me if you want to know more. And coming up in September, I'll be posting a complete list, that takes us all the way through to the end of October, of some great speakers. September 16th, I'm going to be hosting Marilyn Barefoot. We're going to be talking about thinking like an innovator. She's a fantastic creator, innovator, podcaster, and strategist. So that'll be a fun one to tune in next time. But for now, Jill, thank you so much. And have a brain fit day. Go for a 5-minute walk, I think, is the lesson I'm taking.
Absolutely. Keep drinking your water, keep moving, and keep stimulating your brain power, because there is so much of it there waiting to be tapped into. Thank you so much, Libby. Always a pleasure. We'll be in touch soon.
Okay. Thanks, Jill.